Thank you for waking up with us this Friday morning. Stay tuned for Good Morning Malibu.
Good morning, Malibu. I am Shayla Jordan.
And I am Phil Riola. Hope you're having a terrific week and have some great plans for the weekend. We have a great show for you this morning.
For sure.
We
bright
definitely
and
do. So the Olympics started off this morning in Sochi, and the American team got off to a rocky start, but the journalists are getting the brunt of it. They're having a harder time than the Olympians are. The reports of Sochi Olympic living conditions started pouring in last week as journalists from around the world converged in Russia and moved into all these newly constructed hotels. You see here CBC host Mark Connolly snapped this photo of the foyer in his apartment. It's basically a construction zone. They haven't finished any of the hotels, and they're moving all these people in. There have been reports of construction workers sleeping in people's beds when they move in, and it's been quite a sight for all of them. Shayla's just utterly disgusted. She's not even talking.
I'm in shock.
She's just making faces.
I mean, the athletes are certainly having a rough time, and what an experience for them, too.
Yes.
To finally be at the Olympics and not be able to flush the toilet. I mean, it's a little bit of an oxymoron.
Yes.
I would kind of struggle with being an Olympic athlete and not being allowed to flush the toilet.
They have, some of the hotels have been having water shortages, and they have notes that say, do not wash your face with the water. The water contains dangerous chemicals. Other hotel rooms do not have toilets or lights or internet or heat, and it's the Winter Olympics, so heat is generally important.
You know, especially in Sochi, I would think heat is a little vital. And I know they also just recently released that they actually have cameras in several of the hotel bathrooms, which begs the question as to why you would need cameras in the restrooms.
Mother Russia is watching you.
/ it's a little discomforting, to say the least.
I know.
And it sounds like they're in for a rough time.
They're having a hard time.
And if you are not traveling to the Olympics or simply traveling locally, new analysis show that the true cost of checked luggage is less than $2 per bag. In fact, airline baggage fees, as we know, continue to rise each year, and recent studies are showing that the fees just simply don't add up. The standard fee of $25 a bag is said to help offset fuel prices, but the actual cost is only $1.79. So I feel slightly ripped off, to say the least.
I got super excited.
Actually, majorly ripped off.
Yeah, I know. I got super excited about this story this morning, and I was looking at all the reports and doing all the math, and so Shayla and I were talking about it. And it's interesting because what happened was they did this report, and American Airlines put out a press release saying that they were replacing all of the flight manuals on their flights with iPads. And they did the cost breakdown and said that the flight manuals used to weigh 35 pounds and the iPads now weigh 1.5 pounds. And they calculated how much fuel they were saving and how much money they were saving. So some really smart journalist figured out all the weight and then calculated, instead of the flight manual, they calculated the baggage to figure out that it was like $179 per bag, and they're charging you $25.
So in addition to my overly priced airline ticket, they're also making money off of me checking my bags.
Yes.
Gosh, I need to pack lighter, I guess.
Especially if you...
That's what they're telling me.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the airlines are getting really, really nitty-gritty. I mean, they're charging for carry-ons, they're charging for water, they're charging for, if you check in early, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, now you can pay extra for legroom.
Yeah, that's true.
So they're definitely making a pretty penny off of us, but you gotta travel.
So, Shayla and I are getting ready for the next big thing in men's fashion. Say hello to the megging. It is the modern man's answer to jeggings. They're skinny jeans, only a lot tighter. Two fashion entrepreneurs in Chicago came up with the design when they noticed some men trying to incorporate women's leggings into their outfits. Meggings start at about $30 and come in a range of colors and designs. The creator says that their first line sold out, and they're working to fill all the back orders. It's for bold men who are forward thinking. I'm interested to know who was experimenting with women's jeggings in their outfits.
Yes. My favorite part is it's like skinny jeans, only tighter.
Only tighter.
That should never happen, in my opinion. I really feel like skinny jeans are tight enough.
Yes. It's like a combination of skinny jeans and long ski underwear.
Oh my gosh. And as a female, I wouldn't feel comfortable, especially those last ones, the tie-dye ones. I wouldn't feel comfortable with. But I mean, hey, more power to you.
Valentine's Day is next week. You don't want your Valentine's Day date to take you out to dinner wearing tie-dye men's jeggings?
Tie-dye, no, meggings.
Meggings.
Tie-dye men's meggings. I don't know. I mean, Valentine's Day is coming up. That could be a very forward fashion statement right there. I think you should wear some next week, Phil.
Yes.
How do we feel about that?
No. I'll keep jeans. My nice buckle jeans that aren't leggings.
So no meggings for Phil.
No meggings.
To say the least. And a Kentucky elementary school principal changed his tune when announcing a snow day. So unfortunately, we don't have any snow days here in Malibu, but a Stephen Elementary School principal, James Detweiler, shared the school closing news to some winter-weary parents with his own original Bohemian Rhapsody. He penned the song himself to bring some fun to this phone message. Take a look.
School is closed, sorry parents for another day. Watch out for frostbiting, very, very frightening. School is cancelled, school is cancelled, because it's cold. So everyone grab a Snuggie and watch TV, or play the Wii, or maybe
I love
education
that
have too much fun.
Note, the one he just he reaches for that high C. I'm not gonna demonstrate because Lord knows no one wants to hear that. But
we're not gonna shatter the camera lenses.
Imagine getting a call like that. Can President Benton do that? If it ever does snow in Malibu, President Benton, please sing to us.
That would be a very concerning day if it snowed in Malibu.
That would be. And I love how they're taking matters into their own hands. Even though we're not enjoying any winter weather here.
Thankfully.
Yes, thankfully. Another man took matters into his own hands, but quite differently. This dad decided to build a giant sledding hill over in Minnesota. So since we can't make it to the Sochi Olympics, it's good to know we can just yonder over to Minnesota.
Go tobogganing.
And go sledding in his backyard.
That is the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
I'm thoroughly impressed.
If it wasn't 20 degrees there, I would want to be there. But it is, so I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
But it looks great.
And I prefer our 68 degrees here in Malibu today.
Yes.
It's kind of similar to when Pepperdine brought in all that snow just a week ago.
Oh, yeah.
The board brought it in for an
all the fake
event.
snow.
I wish we could have built a giant sledding hill. Maybe next year.
I know.
I'll put in a formal request.
So 50 years ago today, a milestone, we experienced a milestone in music history. It's the 50th year anniversary of the Beatles arriving in America on February 17th, 1964, 2 days before their iconic performance on the Ed Sullivan Show. I can't speak this morning, it's ridiculous. That, of course, launched them into stardom and made them one of the most successful rock bands of all times and just a worldwide icon of music. When they came to the U.S. for their first time, their hit, I Want to Hold Your Hand, was already on the top of the charts, but most Americans didn't know anything about them. Their TV performance changed that. 73 million Americans watched the Ed Sullivan Show that night. A little bit more than our viewership on Good Morning Malibu.
Just a tad.
By like 3 million.
I mean, I like to think we're neck and neck with Ed Sullivan. You know, we're pretty close.
Yes.
We're getting there.
But it's the 50 years of the Beatles being here in America, and it's great because everyone can relate to one of their songs, and everyone has had experiences with the Beatles, and everyone knows it. It's just, so recognizable. So
it's such an iconic date in history, and I actually got to see them perform once, and it was really cool. Or not all of them.
Not all of them, but
no, not quite. But really impressive.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, stay tuned because we have your latest in entertainment and sports and news here on Good Morning Malibu.
Stay with us.